Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the 10th webinar for cloud billing. If you're new to Google Cloud or just exploring, you want to learn more about billing on Google Cloud and some of our best practices that we have on the topic, you have come to the right place. So today we will cover the building blocks of Google Cloud billing. We'll start with managing of your billing account, then cover usage monitoring and reporting before sharing some best practices for budgeting, followed by a live Q&A session. Now, before we properly dive deep into the topic, we would like to properly introduce ourselves. So my name is Bernard. I have 7 years working in technology. I'm based in Singapore, has been with Google for almost 9 months now. I'm a certified professional cloud architect, DevOps engineer, and database engineer. In my role as technical account manager, I help customers, many who are new to Google Cloud, accelerate their cloud journey.
Hi, I'm Chen Ying, and I'm going to be co-presenting this webinar with Bernard today. I'm a certified professional cloud architect, professional data engineer, and data DevOps engineer. So I've been working with customer in the cloud for past 6 years. Currently, my customer are mainly in digital native industries, as well as retail companies that are using GCP products. So as a TAM, I'm helping customer with their cloud journey, proactively guides our customer to operate effectively and efficiently in the cloud.
Yeah, so let's begin.
Yep.
Now, cloud billing can be an intimidating topic, so let's break that down into 3 important points for today's agenda: accountability, visibility, and control. So, accountability is the foundation of Google Cloud billing. Effective billing management requires a good understanding of your organization resource hierarchy. So, understanding who and what resources within your org can incur costs and how to manage access and usage from a billing perspective. Visibility is looking at your cloud usage, forecasts, and trends, breaking down these cost components and various options that you have to export this data to allow you to really understand your cloud spend and areas to optimize. Control. Control is about ways to monitor, control your costs, and protect your organization from undesirable spend. So let's start. Now, let's start with your billing account. So your billing account is a resource that is defined within Google Cloud and is used to facilitate the payment for your Google Cloud projects. So when it comes to billing accounts, there are 2 main types of billing accounts: self-serve account, or what we call online account, and invoice account, or what we call offline accounts. So self-serve accounts are accounts that you can set up yourself online. Payment method, typically credit, debit card, or direct debit. Costs are charged automatically for self-serve accounts to your payment method as defined after payment is used, after usage is occurred. For invoice account, typically invoice on net terms, about 30 days, typically in a month. Customers must usually be eligible for invoice billing and we have to sign a contract, typically reserved for organizations with a minimum amount of spend on Google Cloud. For invoice account, payment invoices are sent via mail or electronically. Payment instrument is not credit card, not debit card, but typically check or wire transfer. Now, to note that when it comes to GCP resources, to use GCP resources, your project must be linked to a billing account. So as it stands, one billing account today can pay for many different projects, even if projects are belonging to different organization nodes, while projects can only be linked to one and only one billing account. Linkage is what makes billing enabled, and costs from that project then will be charged to the linked billing account. Disabling billing on a project is equivalent to removal of this link. So all charge activity, when that happens, will stop, your resources will stop functioning. Now, since billing account is a resource in of itself, access control can be established via IAM policies, just like any other resources. To grant or limit access to cloud billing, you can set an IAM policy at the organization level or at the billing account itself. Now, another aspect of cloud billing is understanding when charges accrue. So when it comes to Google Cloud, all billing accounts, no matter invoice or self-serve, are by default postpaid, meaning you'll be charged for your usage after they occur. Now, the next question is then, when exactly and how often do you get charged? Or in other words, receive an invoice? Well, the answer depends on your billing account type. So they either fall into 1 or 2 cycle, monthly or threshold. For monthly bill, most accounts are monthly bill today. So you receive one invoice per month, typically on the fifth business day of the following month for your month's usage. That being said, Google Cloud also has a system called threshold billing. So you may see this if you are a self-serve account. If you refer to the diagram below, it shows you the scenario for when um, threshold billing can happen and when you can receive an invoice. So you can see that there are two dimensions for when you can get billed. So the two red lines that you see are the point for which you can get billed as your cost exceeds or equals it, while the blue line is the cost or usage accrued over time. So you can see the points that you can get charged is the billing cycle, which typically 30 days in a month, or the threshold amount that is determined based on your account payment activity increase over time. So don't be surprised if you receive an invoice before your payment cycle because you have exceeded your threshold for the usage that you have defined for your billing account. Now, also interesting to note that billing accounts are a GCP concept that maps to a Google Payments profile. So in your overall Google's experience, you may have interacted with something called a payments account, and payments account belong to a payments profile, which is your identity as a legal Google customer. And payments account are used to pay for other Google products such as Play or Ads or Workspace. And your payments profile can be managed either from the Google Cloud Console or at payments.google.com. Now let's switch gears. Let's take a deeper look at how billing accounts can be linked to your GCP projects. So a short recap of the GCP resource hierarchy. As a user, you typically have an organization to start with, right? And under this organization, you can have projects created for different purposes, different environment. And within each project, you can utilize Google services as a standalone boundary. So to really be able to start using services in your project, they need to be associated with an active billing account, as mentioned. And this is an example of having a single billing account for your organization. So in this example, you can see that there is a single organization, there is also a single billing account, and all the projects within this organization are linked to this single billing account by perhaps a user with the project owner and billing administrator role. Now, a pro of this hierarchy is that you can have shared technical implementation, shared technical practices. You can have a centralized visibility and control in your overall spending for the organization. And this also gives you just one single billing account to manage. Now, the use of a single billing account in GCP is Google's best practice for stand-up billing accounts. And next, we have multiple billing accounts for one organization. So this can be done as well. And the common use cases for having multiple billing accounts for a single organization could be scenarios for when you are a reseller on Google platform and you need different billing accounts associated with different customers within your organization. It could be that you are using resources which requires payment in different currency. As it stands today, a single billing account can only pay in a single currency. So if you need payments in different currencies, you do need multiple billing accounts in this case. Or it could be that you are a company with perhaps a legal entity in another country, you have perhaps very different tax requirements for each of your entities, or you have multiple subsidiaries that you want clear separation of billing. This is when multiple billing accounts can be utilized for your organization. But again, for most use case, we do recommend using a single billing account for your organization spend as much as you can. Just really as a matter of factly, it's easier to control a single billing account. It gives everybody greater visibility of your organization spend, and having a single account also eliminates a lot of the headaches down the road from having to manage multiple accounts and access and control. So if you are really considering a multiple billing account strategy, you should carefully consider your organization resources, requirements, and the trade-offs associated with it. So here is an example of the resource hierarchy with multiple billing accounts. In this example, again, we have a single organization. However, in this case, we have two billing accounts. So you could see the entities are separated in a folder structure with isolation, security and mechanisms enforced by IAM policies. So having different billing accounts then assigned to each entity allows you to maintain billing isolation as well. So this gives you advantages of having centralized visibility and control for each of your perhaps accounting legal entity via the folder structure. It also allows you to use different bill payment currency if you need be. However, the cons then is that you have to manage these different billing accounts altogether, and it's again not Google's best practice. Now, talking about IAM access and control, let's now take a look at the IAM roles associated with cloud billing. So in order to perform billing duties, you do need various roles and responsibilities assigned to the correct person in your organization. So I'm going to explain two types of roles here: billing account roles and project roles. And it's important to note that while roles can be assigned at the resource, so the project or the billing account itself, roles can also be assigned at the organization hierarchy, so the organization or folders itself. So when it assigned at the organization level, you can have permissions propagate down their structure. Now let's take a look at the different IAM roles associated with billings. So if you look at the top right corner, billing account creator. So this is an initial role that you might use initially to create new self-serve billing accounts. Typically, you might see this used only for initial billing setup, and you see this applied at the organization level. Our recommendation, though, is to not assign this role once initial setup is done to prevent users from creating unauthorized accounts. And then moving down, you look at the project creator and project billing manager roles. So these roles are project roles, allowing users to create new projects, allowing users to link and unlink projects from a billing account. And it does not, for the billing project billing manager role, note that it does not grant the role any user any rights over resources, but it just allows them to link unlink projects from the billing account. Now, moving left, looking at the billing account administrator, billing account user role. Now, billing account administrator is a powerful billing role. It allows you as a user to manage billing instruments. It allows you to create budgets and alerts. It also allows you to set up exports, set and view payment history. Billing administrator can also manage project linkage, and our recommendation, even though you can apply it at the billing account itself, is to apply this at the organization hierarchy, have your assigning be able to manage all billing accounts within the organization, act as a contact point for billing support. Now, billing account user, moving down, is a little bit more restrictive role in your billing account hierarchy. It allows users to link projects to billing accounts. Is usually used in combination with the project roles as mentioned, project creator, project mailing manager. In combination, these two roles allow a user to create new projects, to be able to link that project to a billing account and start using services within GCP. Now, there are also other roles within the billing hierarchy that we didn't mention, like billing account viewer. So this is a view-only role allowing to view cost information, transactions, often granted to perhaps finance team, audit, or accounts payable. It allows access to costs but does not permit changes. Now, let's change gears and talk about visibility.
Thank you, Bernard. So that's the basis of how to set up billing accounts on GCP. Now, let's look into how to monitor and analyze our spend with GCP. We have billing reports. It is an integrated and standard way to monitor billing. This billing report is automatically generated and found in billing section in the Google Cloud Console. It is a quick way to view GCP usage costs at a glance, discover, analyze trends, and forecast your end of month spend for more effectively plan and take action when needed. We have also cost forecast goes up to 12 months in the future, which includes both your long-term cost trends as well as any consistent monthly cycles such as sustained usage discount. So the billing reports can also drill down into specific areas. Some of the common questions that our customer that usually has that can be leveraged on the billing reports is that what are the cost and our cost trends for a given period by billing account or by project, by product, or by SKU. So all these requirements, you can apply the filters that's showing on the right side of the screenshot. You can apply the filters and do the groupings, depends on your need. And some other common questions is like, what would my cost be if certain discounts or promotion credits were excluded? So you can see that under credits, promotion section, you can choose to include or exclude to see the difference contribute to your subtotal cost. We have other common questions from our customers. Let's say, if you want to know what's the forecast spend for my billing account, so you can select usage date to a future date and then view the trend that has been projected and calculated based on your historical usage. Okay, another built-in report in the console is cost breakdown report. Looking at a screenshot we provided, from left to right, the chart displays bars of the gross cost of your usage, which represents the amount you would have paid during the selected time range if you were charged only at on-demand rate. Okay, so this is the first bar, and then the report shows you how much you saved, broken out by credit type. For example, credit use discounts or sustained use discounts. And then finally, the reports show your invoice level charges, such as tax, adjustment, if any applies to your selected invoice months. And then lastly is the subtotal. So you can see that the cost breakdown reports give you, at a glance, a waterfall view of how much you would have spent at on-demand price for your Google Cloud storage usage, and how usage-based credit save you money to your invoices. It is including the net impact of your money on your invoices. It is including basically everything that leads to your total. Okay, we have cost table reports give you a detailed tabular view of your cost for a given invoice or statement. So usually we call it by invoice month. The cost table report includes project level cost details from your invoices and statements, including your tax cost broken out by project. It is also additional details that you may need, such as SKU IDs, project numbers. You can quickly filter out by using filters that we have provided in the console. It will give you a tree view and ability to customize columns to be displayed. You can also choose to export to CSV if you need to do offline analysis. But to be noted, when filters in their default state, the cost displayed in the report will reconcile the cost to your invoice or statement. So in case you had used any filters for your report analysis, you can always choose to reset to default state. So there's no worry about that. One of most important best practice I can provide you with is to set up billing export to BigQuery as early as possible, as it can leverage analytics and visualization all with GCP. This will provide you with a clear understanding of your spend on GCP from beginning, with indicators on where you are spending your money with GCP. And this is also allows you to keep a more granular and historical view of your spending, including the ability to view the labels. The labels is important, by the way. And then you can run more advanced analysis with BigQuery ML or even fold in other data. And to be noted that BigQuery billing and custom dashboards remain the best practice for detailed cost tracking and chargeback. The setup, if you can see my screenshot, is really simple, and the procedure to do is also well documented. All you have to do is define a billing account, export it into a selected project and dataset. So cloud billing export to BigQuery enables you to export detailed Google Cloud billing data, such as usage, cost estimation, and pricing data automatically throughout to a BigQuery dataset that you specify. And then you can access your billing data from BigQuery for detailed analysis, or use a tool like Google Data Studio to visualize your data. You can also use this data to export method to a JSON file if you prefer other method or you're familiar with other BI tools. Here, this is an example of what a final billing visualization can look like by leveraging the power of two GCP tools that I just mentioned. One is BigQuery, the other is Data Studio. So what is Data Studio? Is actually a SaaS data visualization solution, which is very flexible and integrates easily with BigQuery. Um, in this example, the usage and billing reports of GCP cloud services are exported to BigQuery, where it can be quickly and automatically visualized with Data Studio to create clear charts, tables, and graphs to see how your cost trends change over time. That's so next let's cover some final topics that everyone should know when it comes to to cloud billing reports, which is labels. So there are two kind of labels that you can apply, which is can be attached to a project or to the resource level. So a label itself is a key value pair that helps you organize your Google Cloud Platform resources, such as instance, your VM instance, that's very common. You can attach a label to each resource and then filter the resource based on their labels. Those information about labels is forwarded to the billing system, so you can break down your billing charges by label. This is useful for tracking and chargeback purpose. And each resource can have multiple label up to a maximum of 64. So in terms of billing, there are multiple ways of adding different purpose of labels. So I'll just give some example. You can add labels based on team or cost center to distinguish resource owned by different team. So for example, you can have team of research, analytics. You can use this type of label for cost accounting and budgeting as well. It is also commonly to add component labels, like if it's Redis front end or ingestion purpose, you can differentiate what is the component of these resources. And you can also add environment or stage labels. This is usually to differentiate the environment, for example, whether if it's a production resource or a test resource to indicate whether if it's a lower environment or production environment. Lastly, you can also choose to indicate state labels to resources. Um, for example, let's say if you have state inactive state or ready to delete state or even archive state, it will help you in terms of resource management to identify those idle resources and delete those resources once you are no longer needed. Okay, another example. So it's like once we've got our label set up, our billing export switched on, we will start to see data appearing in BigQuery where you can then query it. It is a recap that shows you can use SQL-like queries to break your data down into meaningful explanation like labels and value. So this query, for example, is aggregating all the cost and usage per project label for June 2018 and grouping by those projects. So it is useful because now you can see the project tag to the cost center. The last row I'm talking about, the 349,10481 cost center will cost you in this case $209. You can run other similar queries to pull data required for chargeback. Now, next, I would like to pass back to Bernard to talk about controls, as managing resource on the cloud is different from managing on-prem. We need ways to control your cloud spend.
Thank you, Cheng Yim. So the last topic that we will cover is controls. Now, when it comes to controls, budgets are a big part of the control available to help you track your actual Google Cloud costs against planned spending. So you can't avoid surprises on your build by creating Google Cloud budgets to monitor all of your Google Cloud charges in one place. A powerful feature available is how you can scope your budgets based on projects, services, and even labels. For example, you can now differentiate budgets into efforts for team app ABC, but should have this budget versus budgets for environment equals production. Now you can set budgets to a specific amount or last month's spend. After setting that budget amount, you can set budget alert threshold rules to trigger email notifications based on the percentage of the actual. of forecasted spend. Budget alert emails help you stay informed on how your spend is tracking against your budget. However, it's important to note that budgets don't prevent the use of billing or your services when the actual cost reaches or exceeds the budget that you have defined. So, for example, if you have a budget of $1,000 for compute engine, the further use of compute engine is not blocked, even if you exceed $1,000. What can be done, however, in this case, if you wish to do so, is to automate cost control response to automatically control your costs. For final control into how your GCP resources can be utilized, once your budget is exceeded, you can use budget notifications to stream budget events via pub subtopics to programmatically handle these events, threshold events. So for example, you could create a pub subtopic, you can reuse it for all your budgets, or you can even create a unique topic per budget. With this pub subtopic, you can then add on alerts to programmatically take action like shut down resources, disabling billing, or even capping API usage. Now, the other important thing that you should know that the way spending can be limited is through capping of API usage through quotas. So quotas are a soft limit placed at the organization or project level to throttle resource consumption. So this is a mechanism put in place to protect you from accidental overspend. For most resources, default quotas exist for the amount of service a project can consume. For example, the number of VMs that can be spin up or the number of N2 CPUs that you can deploy in a project. So you are free as a user to override the quotas that you require for your project. You can revise them upwards, you can revise them downwards, also what we call consumer quota overrides based on your requirements. Important to know that for quota increases, there may be an approval process required. However, efficient use of quotas, monitoring them allow you to really determine if resource consumption are within expectations. So you can limit quotas to a reasonable level that's required by your organization, allowing for some growth while still protecting your organization from unexpected cost spikes. Lastly, it's also interesting to know that you can also create quota alerts for proactive monitoring and notification. So when a quota exceeds the threshold that you define, you can have notices sent to administrators at the channel they prefer. Or you can also programmatically handle quota events utilizing PubSub and other native GCP services such as Cloud Functions. Now, let's talk cost optimization. So within the GCP console, there are a variety of costing tools available for you. You can explore cost calculators to estimate, compare the cost of new workloads. You can look at the cost recommendations of your projects and ways you can optimize for your specific projects and resources. You can also project direct savings through CUDs, through the CUD analysis tool. So CUDs are committed use discounts, and let's talk a little bit more about this. So with CUDs, you can obtain discount for your use of cloud resources. For example, looking specifically into compute engine GCE, within GCE, CUD, you can receive discounted price in exchange for your commitment to use GCE for a specific term of 1 to 3 years period. Now, these are available as resource-based CUD or flexible spend-based CUDs. Resource-based CUD provides a discount in exchange for your commitment to use a minimum level of compute engine resources in a particular region, while spend-based Flex CUD provide a discount in exchange for your commitment to spend a minimum amount of dollar value of compute engine for eligible resources type. Now, the other discount that we talk about besides CUD are SUD, sustained use discount. So sustained use discounts are discounts that are offered when you use a resource for more than 25% of a billing month and are not receiving any other discounts. So this discount starts at 25% usage of a time and it increases incrementally with usage up to 30% discount you can receive. This discount SUDs are provided automatically, unlike CUDs where you have to purchase a commitment term. Now, a little bit more on CUD and how you can utilize them to maximize savings. Because some discounts like CUDs come with a commitment, to really optimize your cost, you can apply a mix of different discount types to maximize your savings versus commitment requirement. So applying regular CUDs or resource-based CUD where the region, the size, and the VM family is known. These are steady-state workloads that you might have planned way ahead of time, and you know you need them for 1 to 3 years at least. And then applying flexible CUDs for your unplanned or inorganic workloads where you might mix a variety of VM types and regions to really maintain a minimum spend. And for the rest of your spiky burst workloads, you can rely on SUDs or spot VMs or even shared machine cores for discounted usage. Now, cost optimization is a very deep topic, and there are many ways to really maximize and optimize your costs. So from leveraging of discounts, like we talked about, to right sizing, to re-architecting your platform. So please feel free to listen in to our cost optimization and FinOps 10 web webinar. Or if you're interested in the topic, please look out for more blog posts on this in the coming sessions. Also highly recommended to reach out to your account team and technical account manager if you have any questions or you'd like to dive deeper in this. Now with that, let's take a recap on what we have covered today.
Okay, so in today's section, we covered billing accounts, specifically how accounts links to a project that allows you how to use GCP resources. And then followed by the visualization, we talk about how to visualize cost to resources with exporting to the billing information to BigQuery. And lastly, we discussed how to monitor and control spend on GCP with budgets and plus cloud pops up. Okay, so we have also concluded 7 best practice while managing cloud billing. First is use folders to mirror your organization. Use the organization resource represents your company. Folders shall basically the folders shall present your organization structure. A common way is department. That's really very common setting up based on for our customers. And the second one for is to use project to enforce boundaries, because projects represent trust boundary within your company. So service within the same project shall have a default level of trust. And third, prioritize cost reporting over invoice inspection. The reason is, in order to understand your invoice, it is recommended to have your cost reporting to understand where contribute your cost, so that you will help you reconcile your invoice as well. And fourth, enable BigQuery export to on day one. I think I have mentioned it just now because it's pretty important. This allows you to keep a more granular and historical view of your spending. It is also enables the data visualization as well. So the next one, number 5, use labels to supercharge reporting, because label can be used to identify resource usage. Use a labeling system which allows you to identify costs at appropriate granularity and also enabled chargebacks. Number 6 is setting up budget alerts and quotas. All this will help you to track actual GCP costs against planning spending, and it can also protect user from overspend. Number 7, establish cloud cost center of excellence and experts. So this is kind of related to another important FinOps topics, as you need a group of people who understand the cloud cost. We know the daily, who knows the daily operation and how it contributes to the cost in the cloud. So start to train and maintain a group of experts will help you manage cloud resources and the cost in long run. Well, I think that's pretty much everything, the presentation of today. And so we'll go to the Q&A. So thanks for those registration. We have received quite a number of questions that before the registration. So we are, maybe we'll just go through some while waiting for some live questions as well. Okay, so I'll start with the first one. How do I calculate Flexcud on top of EDP, the commit discount, and how can I explain if flex commit CUDs applies to the client invoice or not? So thanks for the question. So don't confuse this. Basically, in short, these two discounts can be applied together. So commitment discounts such as EDPs are applied first, and then your flexible CUDs will apply next. So what does this mean? Maybe I'll give you an example. Let's say, for example, after your EDB discount, you are paying an average $100 hourly. That's for example, and then you are receiving a 46 CUD discount, a 3 years CUD discount on the $100. So in this case, you just need to pay hourly commitment fee of $54. And this allows you to use up to $100 worth of compute engine, vCPU, or memory for $54. You can view the flex CUD SKUs in the billing reports, grouping by the SKU. It's all at a SKU level. The discounts will be broken down into the SKU level, which is also available in the console. And then if you want to know the discounted price after for the EDP, it is available in the pricing menu under the billing console. Okay, so next questions we got is how can we create cost dashboards in the billing console? The answer is yes, you can leverage the pre-built reports in the billing console, like say the billing reports I just mentioned, those cost breakdown. You can customize those by filtering and grouping, and then after that you can save a view for yourself, or you can share the views to others. On top of that, you can also create your own cost analysis report using BigQuery when export your billing data. And then the reports can be visualized with Data Studio or any other BI tools that you prefer. Okay, next questions. So if I have received a credit and debit memo, what should I do? Okay, so to answer these questions, we will start to elaborate what is first credit memo or debit memo. So credit memo can be applied to your existing invoice to reduce the amount that you need to pay. For example, if let's say you have received $100 invoices and then 50 credit memo, so which means that this will deduct the amount that you need to pay, and then you just need to pay the remaining $50 because you will apply to invoice at a account level. And in the contrast, debit memos describe adjustment that increase the amount you must pay for the months in which the debit adjustment is applied. If you want to check whether you have issued invoices on these memos, it is available in the console under payments and documents. If you're still not sure whether you have unapplied memos, here is the email address that I have mentioned here. You can actually reach out to our team to answer your queries. Okay. Let me just, I think the remaining questions I'll move to Bernard while I can check whether we have any questions from live.
Thank you, Cheng Yin. So the next question is on the frequency of updates to billing reports and exports. So billing reports latency varies from a few minutes to a few days, depending on the service, the SKU, and the platform processing time. However, most services should report usage within a few hours. For exports to BigQuery, initial data export might take up to 48 hours to show up. Afterwards, the pricing data should be available within BigQuery every day. Now, the other question is, can we buy credits from GCP to limit costs? So within GCP, all new customers today get $300 worth of credits to explore the Google Cloud Platform. There are also free tiers available for popular services such as Compute Engine, App Engine, and Cloud Storage available for you to use at no cost. To limit costs and to really talk about buying credits, we do have something called the commit use discount, CUDs, that can be purchased via the Google Cloud console, provided you have administrator rights. And also we talk about best practices such as leveraging tools such as budgets and quotas and alerts to limit costs for your usage of GCP. And one more question came up on what's the best labeling policy. So Labeling cloud resources is a good idea. It helps you understand your cloud spend at a granular level. It also helps you make more informed decision making. And the question is, what is the best policy then? Well, in general, your labeling strategy should encompass um, your business objectives and questions that you might have across your organization for these four dimensions. So you might have questions for security, you might have questions or business objectives for business, you might have technical objectives, or you might need to be able to make some automation. So labeling should encompass all four dimensions, and you should develop a labeling standard that works across the organization. So in your organization, use of cloud resources. You might be using GCP, you might be using another vendor, it might be on-prem, and all of these have their own labeling standard. So what as an organization you should do is to develop a unified standard that works across all your usage of your resources across the org, and also lastly to automate, to measure, and to refine as much as possible. So labeling really only works if you can automate it right from the get-go, and you can measure the outcome, and you can continuously reiterate. So the best organizations have a continuous improvement process put in place for their labeling to make sure that their labeling is up to date, is accurate, and is best fitted for the organization. Also, lastly, you might be interested to know that Google Professional Services Organization offers a FinOps Cloud Labeling Strategy Workshop. So if you are keen to find out more or have somebody from our PSO or come in to guide you in this topic, contact your temp or account team to find out more about this. Now, the last question that was pre-submitted that we get was, I keep getting this error, the OR CBAT 15 error, and which what I'm being told is due to a payment method issue. So recommended to contact billing support here, but I cannot contact support without billing account. And what do I do? Well, for this case, customers may receive this error in the event of an issue with their payment method when they're signing up for a new account. So indeed, our billing support team will be the best contact to assist you here. However, if you're not able to contact support, you're not a billing administrator, you don't have access to your billing account anymore, we do recommend that you visit the contact troubleshooter link as shown here to reach out to support via an online form. Now, interested in more cloud content, please feel free to check out these links below. And we do have a few more questions that we will be answering as well. So
Yeah,
let me take
thanks,
the
Bernard.
first. Yeah, thank you. So I think there was a question on the billing cycle. So the question was, Google Cloud is not giving any notification while billing cycle expired. Most of the customer charge without notifying them. That makes them upset because they don't know where their money is gone. Well, the answer is that billing cycle is basically typically monthly. So even if it's an invoice or of online self-serve account, it's always on a monthly basis. When the invoice comes, you will receive payment information or billing information via email that is set in your billing account setting UI. So when it comes to early notification of billing alert, you can do set a billing alert, and this is what I use as well. So you might be asking about being notified before you receive any charge. So to make sure you do that, what billing alerts has mentioned is what I do. So you can set it, for example, to any charge above $0. So this gives you early heads up as soon as maybe your usage exceeds the free tier or the free trial that are provided. Also, monitoring of your billing via the console gives you the most up to date and is probably the easiest to access to as well.
Okay, I see there's another questions was been asked earlier. Is why Google? I think is sorry, just give me a second. Yeah, how we can calculate cost individual resources with resource ID, and is it possible, or is there any alternative option? Could you please provide useful information regarding this? So thanks for the questions. So yes, it is. So there are multiple ways. So basically, we can start with labels, because labels can be applied at a resource level. So if you have labels being applied to the label, you can actually filter out using data to the BigQuery, and you can use BigQuery to run your cost analysis. So this is one way. And second way, we have a similar concept. The data we have detailed usage cost data that has been provided. This data is also exported to BigQuery. That is a checkbox for you to whether you want to enable it. If you have enabled the detailed usage cost data, that will also provide you granular and resource level cost data. For example, if you want to see virtual machine or SSDs that generate services or the usage. So the products that included at the resource level is compute engine, GKEs, cloud functions, SQL, Spanner, and App Engine, all these common services that we provided.
Yep, 100%. So do check out the schema for the detailed cost export. I believe resource name is part of it as well. Now, the other question that was asked was what happens after the cost is hit until limit quota? Do you receive will you be able to get stop or creating any action, or do you receive only notification via email? So in this case, budget alert is only alerting. There's no stopping of services. However, what you can do is that by setting quota to the max resource usage limit for that project, you can prevent resource usage over the quota. You can also limit costs via automating cost control response, so programmatically via pub subtopics, as mentioned in the previous slides. Yeah, I think we don't have any more questions. So thank you so much for your time, and we are really glad that you could make it here to our cloud building webinar. Please continue to look out for more webinars coming your way, as well as the blog post that will be submitted very shortly after this webinar. Thank you all for
Yep.
coming.
Thank you all. Thanks. Bye-bye.